Hey Meg, how's it going?
Oh, I'm doing just fine. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing alright. I had a question for you, by the way.
Sure, what's your question? I'd love to know.
If you commissioned an artist for a piece that was really, really, really special to you, you'd want to make it perfect, right?
Well, of course I'd want to make it perfect. If I'm paying money for a commission, I expect it to be perfect. But that depends on what kind of commission you're talking about.
Like an Amy Winehouse piece, just for example.
Oh, honey, if you're talking about an Amy Winehouse commission, then of course I'd want it to be perfect. Amy means the world to me, and I would do anything to make sure that if I commissioned an Amy Winehouse based commission, I would love it to be perfect. Well, as perfect as I can possibly get it, of course.
What if you asked the artist to do like a really simple edit on your piece because there was something just a little bit off and you just wanted it changed?
Well, I would ask the artist, like, hey, I would like this edited. Can you please edit it? And if I saw something off, like, I would ask, like, hey, I want this edited, please. And I would expect the artist to fully be like, yeah, sure, that's not a big deal. I can edit that for you and be nice about it.
Well, let's say it was a color. Let's say it was one of your colors. What if you couldn't tell the difference between your orange and your yellow? That would make you upset, right?
Honey, if someone messed up on my colors on an Amy Winehouse commission, I would definitely be upset. If I couldn't tell the difference between my orange and my yellow, oh no, honey, all freaking hell would break loose. But yes, if someone got my colors wrong on an Amy Winehouse piece, or any art piece for that matter, I would be upset, and I would ask the artist, like, hey, can you edit these colors so I can at least tell the difference between the two?
Exactly, like if someone drew me with not being able to tell the difference between like one of my colors, I'd be pretty upset too.
Yeah, and your colors and my colors are extremely vivid and stand out amongst color to color. Our colors stand out.
Let's say you ask the artist to do the edit, and they did the edit, but it was on a consequence of them getting upset about it. How would you feel about that?
Well, I would be happy that the edit was done, but I'd be pretty upset if the artist was upset about it, because an artist shouldn't be getting upset at their client for asking them to do an edit on their art piece when they just want to make the art piece perfect.
An artist needs to respect the client, and the client needs to respect the artist. In artist land, an artist does sketch, line art, color, final shading. That's the process. Let's say this edit could have easily been made during the coloring phase, which, like I said, let's say it was a color issue. This edit could have easily been made in the coloring phase of the lineup before it was shaded. But let's say the artist never showed you the coloring phase before they shaded it. How would you feel about that?
If it was something as simple as a color edit and the artist never showed me the coloring phase before the final shade, I would be pretty upset about it, because if it's a coloring issue, it could easily be edited within the coloring phase before it's even touched with shading of any kind. So, if I'm shown a final piece of something and the colors are off in any way, I would be very, very upset, because the artist never showed me, the client, the coloring phase.
So, in doing so, let's say your piece is finished and it's shaded, but then you notice something that you need to be changed. And you ask for the edit to get done because it wasn't done because you weren't shown what needed to be edited beforehand. And you ask, hey, I want this edited or this color different. Can you please do that? The artist should be respectful and change said item for the client.
Exactly. Any artist should be respectful and help their client to make the piece perfect and not get upset about changes that need to be made to the piece. Because if a client wants a piece changed or edited in any way, the artist should accommodate to that, no matter what the edit is.
The artist should always be respectful and listen to the client. If a client wants a simple edit done, then they should get the edit done that they wanted. Even if the piece is finished, an artist can easily go back and fix something. Even if it's something small, like a color edit, without being upset about it. Now, do you think it's a client's fault if they ask the artist to do something and the artist gets upset about it?
No, a client should never be at fault for something, for just asking a simple question to the artist, and then the artist gets upset about it. It should never be the client's fault, because the client is paying money for something that they want done. They are paying the artist their business and paying them for their time. It should never be the client's fault if the artist gets upset about something.
I exactly agree with you, because that is what we are going to be talking about today, boys and girls. We are going to be talking about artist and client etiquette. So I already know I made a video on artwork etiquette and like not stealing other people's artwork online and being respectful towards artists who charge a lot of money and not being rude to artists about the prices or their artwork, and not being rude to commissioners who have commissioned artwork from artists, and so on and so forth. Today's video, we will be talking about artists being respectful to clients and clients being respectful to artists. So, if you are in the middle of a commission, if you are in like the sketch phase of your piece, you have every right as a client to change pretty much anything and everything and make any sort of edits that are necessary in the sketch phase of your piece to make it perfect, to have the perfect pose and everything. And then in the coloring phase of the piece, which it goes sketch, line art, coloring, which it always should. In the coloring phase, you are allowed to edit any and every color that you want to. Ask the artist nicely, hey, can you make this one color stand out from the other so you can tell the difference? You have every right to tell the artist to do that for you. It shouldn't matter what your ref sheet looks like. If you can't tell the difference between two colors on your character, you have every right to tell the artist, hey, can you adjust these colors so I can tell the difference because I'm fucking colorblind as hell? You have every right to tell your artist that. And lastly, when it comes to the shading phase, it should always go coloring before shading. There shouldn't ever be an instance where it should be shading before coloring, in my opinion. Now, I know every artist is different and does their work differently, but the artist should always show the client the coloring phase before the final shading phase. So, let's say a coloring mistake was made, but the client was never shown the coloring phase. So it could never be fixed in the coloring phase. So the piece is finished, and the color edit that needs to be done is now shaded and highlighted. So the client needs to ask the artist, hey, can you fix this so I can A and B with these colors. The artist should have respect and
be able to go back and change the colors for the client, or whatever edit needs to be done for the piece for the client to make it perfect. It shouldn't matter what the edit is, because if a client is paying for something, paying money out of their pocket for something, they should have it perfect for them to have. And especially if it's something as simple as a small edit, there shouldn't be any issues between the artist and the client to make said changes. There is no reason for there to be an argument or anything like that. Artists should be respectful towards the clients, and the clients should be respectful towards the artists. That's all I have to say about that. If you couldn't tell, I had something happen to me recently where it was very, very similar to this, and I'm still upset about it because I just don't understand why things had to happen the way they did, but they did. So yeah, I'm still very, very upset about it. But I'm taking things out of spite, and I'm doing things that I want to do because fuck it, I don't care. If you're gonna treat a client that way, I will never give you my business again. That is extremely unprofessional of any artist to act that way towards a client. Then not give the client a reason why they stopped talking to them or even refunded them for unfinished artwork. So yeah, I'm just extremely heated about said subject. I need to make a video just to kind of make myself feel a little bit better about the situation, because people need to understand that most artists are very, very respectful of a client's choices and what they want in an art piece, and making simple edits for the client. But if an artist is not going to show the client, for example, the coloring phase before the shading phase, and a color edit needs to be done once the piece is finished, that is on the artist for not showing the client the coloring phase. So a color edit could be done, and then the artist getting upset about it because they had to change lighting and shading. And it's like, if artists no show client color, then that are an artist. That is artist's fault, not the client's. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about the subject, and I may or may not come back to this in the future, but yeah, I'm just gonna leave it that, and you guys can find out in the comments below. Bye!